Beautiful radio, but right out of the box, it ain't working. You can hear it spark, and nothing comes on. Nada. Didn't work in the car. I went through all the trouble to mount it, and it's not working. All right, so I have the new radio. I only took the top off. It's just one screw, and instead of drilling it out, I put the smaller ones in. Oh, that one's not holding. Okay, so basically I tightened up the nuts and forced this black little stop thing here to hold on. Now, I might have reused this one, and that's why it didn't work out, but obviously you don't want it to keep spinning because then that'd be a problem. So these other ones are kind of holding, and it just, when it gets to a certain point, it should be just fine. But I will have to probably put a different one on or something like that. So second radio stopped working out of nowhere, and I think I know the reason now, but just the back speakers are on right now, so I don't want to get a copyright violation. But that was pretty good sounding, but what was happening is that I knew the telephone wire was going to a point here, and they kind of had it all freaking just tied together, and it really wasn't good. So I used one of these guys, and after I screwed it in, it didn't. This plastic cover didn't latch on. And then what happened was, I broke off these two, and I was still getting no volume. So when I pushed the seat in, I think it kind of broke off because they are more brittle because it's hardwire here. So I'm hoping that it'll be fine once I put this in now, because I ran them below seat level. Hang on. Okay. So let's see. Oops. I hit bass. You gotta let it Oh my god, I'm so fucking happy. But ultimately, I had these guys just touching everything. Same thing with the other one, but I think it was the rear, because that's just it. I never had a problem until I put in the speakers, I think, because it was working, and then all of a sudden it wasn't. And then it happened with two of them, and I'm like, how can this be happening to me? And I never seen speakers be, wired wrong, and then it did that shit, it's cheesy in that sense, but it's working, and it's tells you the type of song that it is and everything. I just got that little guy there. This is a kind of a local station in Long Island, so super happy finally. Now I can really put this together, and I think it'll stay like that now. But what else? I had it running for about 20 minutes. I couldn't find the radiator cap, but I just threw in the bulb here for the radiator. I put this guy in, but I didn't put the air cleaner back on to see where I am with all this stuff, so I got to figure that out to make sure it's right. If not, I'm going to have to get some kind of 90-degree adapter here to go down, so it kind of angles out of the way. I didn't think about that. What else? That choke might need a little bit of adjustment. It doesn't really have any kind of high idle. It's pretty freaking loud. These engines were always on the loud side, so without a muffler, it's still, even though I got two nice pipes going out the back, I'm probably going to try to make my own exhaust system on it, just like I did with the front. So I got parts coming. Could not get the amp meter to work, and it's just one of those amp meters. It needs a lot of power to make it work. Cause I don't know though. I put a light bulb on this, and it didn't want to work at all. I put direct, and I don't know how many amps it needs to get it to move. So it's a little weird like that. It might be just very heavy duty, and it doesn't really signal when you have a draw. So, I mean, listen, that's another reason why I put the amp light in. And what else? I got this guy in so that when I go like this, hang on, let me turn off the radio. So I don't know if you can hear that. but it's blowing. And then the first shot is high, and then the other one is low. So, and that thing gets hot as fuck when it's like that, but I think you can hear it. They're both blowing nice air. I mean, this came out really nice. It sounds good. I can imagine with the front speakers how well it'll sound. But I'm really, really happy about all this stuff. I got to find a thumb screw for this. I didn't see it in the kit that it came with, you know. So I think that's where I'm at right now. I got to button this up, and I should be able to, you can see when it's working, because there's just a faint little numbers, and then you have to hit it on to go on. So that's a relief that it actually works. And I realized that, you know, all these, I couldn't see those wires, and they were all freaking tangled up, and not to mention, like, the way they had it hooked up, the two wires that I ended up using, because I tried to make it color coded as possible. I was putting, you know, two green with a black stripe, and purple with a black stripe. So the purple I made red, and the black is the black, and then the green to green, and then yellow was the negative. So, and then I made my connectors, tied a nut. The knot is the positive on each one, and sounds good. I'm happy. I've got to tie up these wires. I want to buy an LED light, because at night it really wasn't that bright, this thing. So the LED will probably really knock it out of the park with that, and it's less likely to break because it does hang a little low. So if you did load up the trunk, it may break the bulb. So rather than doing that, the LED is kind of sturdy. So I'll go to LED bulb for that. And we're getting closer and closer. You know, a few things I got to button up over here, but I'm just bummed about the amp meter gauge, but because I wanted them both to work. But you know, it is what it is. You know, there's only so much I can do, and I don't want to run everything through that gauge anyway. It's safer this way as well. You know, in hindsight, if I had another gauge, or if I was able to figure that out, I would have maybe done something else. I mean, would have tried to get an aftermarket gauge and make it fit in there somehow, you know. But it's a little hard being, you know, it's round in the back, but it's an oval, you know, it's an oval hole, but with a straight sweep, pretty much. No, probably not. It looks like it has a normal sweep. Not sure if it'll be able to be seen, but you know, it still looks good, you know. So it's all good. Not quite sure why this brake light isn't working. I hope the green wire didn't come off. Yeah, nothing's working. Oh, I don't think I hooked it up yet. Yeah, I have that was one of the wires I got to hook up. I got to plug that in. Yeah, I hooked up the directional signal. It's a little, everybody gives me shit, you know. It's funny, you know, it's like, it's got a couple of scratches in it. It was missing the instructions, but I figured it out, you know. Again, this is more of a classic one, and since I had the separate one here, you know, and for some reason I got to see why another relay is clicking when this is happening. It doesn't quite make sense to me. So something is backfeeding, and I don't understand why it would be. So I'm going to try to figure that out as well. I couldn't do it, but now that I have the AC down, because it's more than just the flasher here clicking. I got a few relays up here. Yeah, which relay is that? I don't understand why it would be doing this. That's probably why it's also going slow. I totally forgot which relay this was for, but for some reason it's not even connected to that for sure. It might be pulling off the same fuse. That's the only thing I don't know. I might have just borrowed it for a fuse, so I may send it to another fuse to borrow it somewhere else. So we shall see. I think it's this fuse right here, right? Or is it the bottom fuse? Nope. Okay. So yeah, the second fuse is it. It looks like I have two things going to it. I just got to figure out. I was just borrowing it, but I might be better putting the other relay at the top here, and I just think it's creating some kind of electrical feedback, which still doesn't make any fucking sense. So I shall see, because all four wires are basically going to the directionals and all that, and I can't quite remember what the freaking relay was for. I got to go back and think, so. But that's where I'm at right now. Everything's going pretty good. So that's where it sounds the open exhaust. I haven't been filming too much, but I had a leak from that oil filter housing, and I didn't take a video, but it had a little imperfection in it, and I wasn't sure if it was actually leaking from these guys. So I got this new style of stuff there. It's called gasolia, something like that. So, and there's some sweating at the thing here, but it was riding along the edge and then dripping down the bottom, and some of it was dripping straight down onto the floor. Had a nice little leak. This is from the rag, but I think this was just because it was traveling down the edge, and right now I have it jacked up, but hopefully it's not leaking out. But if anything, then this is the gasket if it keeps leaking. So I don't think so. Definitely seemed like it was coming, because it was kind of wet up. Did I shut off the thing? It was leaking from one of these guys, and then I had Teflon tape on it, but I put this other stuff, and I think it came out good. I had other drips here, as you can see, like that bolt right there, and the edge of the master was leaking up there. So that's something else. I just tightened them all up. I hope it works. I don't see why it would leak unless my flare was messed up. I was trying to take out the brake pedal. I took off another thing there, but then this guy is in the way. This bracket right here. So I have to unbolt it, and I got pretty close here with the welding of this thing here. So that's gonna be fun getting that guy out. Look at that, I put a plastic plug in there. That's how it looks from there. I bought some plastic plugs, and I said, okay, that's pretty good. If I can get the rest of them to look like that, that'd be great. There's got a lot of holes. But hopefully this stays put. Hopefully it's just not too saturated. Hopefully I can just tighten them up. Like I said, I have it jacked up. Well, I have it jacked up now on this side, so it's everything. It's on it more. But I am probably a quart low, roughly. Probably not even, But so I bought an extra quart of oil. But I had a hard time getting the oil filter off, and this was the thing that looked like where the pin was. It had a slight crack in it, but it almost looked like a manufacturing defect at the same time, So I put it all in the vise, and I got it off with another oil filter. I put another gasket here, and I got the correct O-ring. This is the correct O-ring, but I ended up spraying brake cleaner on it by mistake, so I had to put like 8 and 10 in there. So the original GM part numbers, they're like gray. As soon as I touched them, the gray came right off. It looks like a regular black O-ring, but it does. I had this guy in there, which was a bigger one. Like I said, there was a multitude of reasons why I did this. I cleaned this with brake cleaner. I was like, let's see if I can get one at one store for $20. came out the way that I want. So I think that's pretty good right now. Like I said, if I put the oil back up to the height and it heats up, then I can see it. And the oil pan is actually relatively easy to change in this car. Not that I want to do it, but because everything looked new. But you know, guys make mistakes. Yeah. So that's where we're at. I'm trying to remember where I was last. I had to work this week a lot, and I just I'm tired. I'm like working overnights and stuff. But ultimately, this is all together. I redid the hazard switch. I retapped it to a bigger bolt. I put the horn guy in there. I'm going to make these guys, but I still don't have all the parts. I want the kick panels. I'm going to put the speakers in them. I'm trying to do something like I did with the back deck there, using the material I have left over. And what else? I guess I could start planning this as well. What the hell am I going to do here, kind of thing. I'm thinking steel. As much as I want to use aluminum channel, I can't weld aluminum, so I don't want to have to pay somebody to do that. So I might get some kind of C-channel steel. Doesn't have to be thick, and then want to insert like wood in it. Like they have this dense, nicer wood from like Home Depot. And I'll see. I have those rivets that have the bolt threads in them. Something along those lines, and try to fit the thing on top. I'm not sure what I'm doing what I'm doing yet with that. I was thinking about, because there's only 2 screws here. I don't know what it's really screwing into. It's probably strong enough though, and I don't want to add screws. I don't want to accidentally screw into something I shouldn't be screwing into. I don't want to take it out of this thing as well, although I thought about it, but I was thinking about cheating it on the driver's side more. If I cheat it in the middle, it'll kind of block the vent line there. The hose, the drain hose can come in. The thing is, the shifter's not in the middle, and that's by design. So I don't know if it's worth having that. I just kind of rather just cheat it there so the driver has more access to it. At one point I was thinking I would bring it all the way around here, and I just think it's a little too much, and plus I ended up putting the rear defogger right there. You're really starting to run out of room here, and I kind of bought these panels to do the kick panels, and they were way too thick. They weren't actually the right size. They were 16 by 18. I need at least 20 inches high in order to fabricate them. But now I'm thinking I probably could have used it to make some kind of panel that'll block all this stuff, and make it look a little more streamlined. And I can, there's a screw over here. A lot of those black plastic things, they have just one screw that holds it. That's all you need. One screw there. And I was thinking about making this a stud. If I was able to do something like that, epoxy some pieces together, perhaps. I don't know. And that's like finishing touches. It's really not necessary, but this guy here needs to get done. So I was thinking about, this has one threaded hole here. It's got a hole here. There's nothing in the front really. I can drill holes, of course, into it. So that's probably what it's going to be. I'll probably thread the holes. And got to see if I can make it somewhat usable. I ended up lubricating this with silicone spray, and actually it wasn't actually silicone spray, it was something else. And of course I had the silicone spray in the car. So between that driven down and on this mechanism here, I wanted to do that so it would work its way in eventually. And I was even thinking about cutting this down with and then cutting the plastic down as well and making it flat spots, and kind of have the same idea here with this. I'd have to have the same kind of thing there, and then I get metal filings everywhere. Then what am I going to do? So I'm probably just going to deal with it the way it is. Because if it's low, it doesn't mean that you're going to actually be able to grab it if you're a girl. I don't know, but and yeah, I could have probably gone back on the seat, back on the shifter, but the seat is already all the way back, and I don't know if she's going to be able to reach it. So, the gas pedal and brake pedal are actually up for, well, at least the gas pedal is up forward more. So that's something, to count in there. And I'm not 100% sure, but I think I'm not positive, but I would think that the whole thing could be moved if it really had to be, But I just think it's better where it is, I don't think you should have it up against yourself, and have room to go backwards and forwards. So, at least I'm pretty sure it's all the way. Yeah, it's all the way back. So, I can't see this going forward anymore. That's what I don't understand. I don't understand these things. Look at these things. It still wants to give a crack in the fucking steering wheel. Can't get rid of them. What else? Yeah, I just can't see this whole thing being back further and then not being able to put the seat forward significantly. I just don't know who's driving it in the end. I know she'll be, but I just, I didn't bring this in. That's another thing. So it's kind of a touch and go with all this. So I'm really hoping that what I do with the handle works out. Like I said, I could technically bring it down and try to cut the same notch in there. Not sure if it really can't be disassembled because it has rivets in here, and fuck with that on both sides to get it out, So I'm not a huge fan of, doing surgery on this thing. I think it'll end up being just fine, But we're almost there. I got to make my own exhaust, which I'm waiting for. That's supposed to come in today too. This is the muffler that I got. So the muffler's in. I got some adapters in, and I got pipes coming. So it's a lot of waiting, And then I got the parts didn't come, and typical BS that happens. So hopefully I'll get more done tomorrow, and I'll post a video hopefully. That's down a bit, but I have a feeling that it found its way into the heater core, which might have not immediately went in, But I just checked the oil and it's full, so it was, those 5-quart things might be overkill for this. So, and like I said, it's that little tiny filter. It's not even it's supposed to be 4 quarts width, and then add 1 for the filter. But that filter is so small that you got to figure that it was enough for both, for both filters that I ended up putting in there. So it's a better filter. Oil is super clean. Not that it ran that much to even justify any kind of, dirtiness from it. But I think tomorrow I'm going to start doing the exhaust because I should get the parts in today. And within a couple of hours, it's close to 6 o'clock already today. Took all day to do fucking something stupid. So sometimes that's the universe telling you to call it quits for the day. So I will be working on this tomorrow. So I'm going to say that's not too shabby. All right, I put these speed nuts under there to hold the speaker. I ended up drilling that hole too big, but by the time I was done with all this material, it really wasn't too bad holding. I had to smash the metal right there for the light to clear, and then I opened up the hole here. Those holes, I was never intending to screw it into the car via the speaker, and you can tell I'm tightening this, and it's tweaking everything, which is weird. So the front screw here, I left it looser because that was really bowing towards this way. So I made the holes bigger so they would recess into those holes, So it's kind of meant to be done out here like this. I taped up the speaker connection here, and after realizing that bad speaker connections will fry these brand new radios somehow, I didn't want it to do that. And since I have it right there where that cutout is, I actually just made that bigger. So that's the reason for that. But it's pretty much, okay. I don't think it's going to be too much of an issue. There's enough recess. So I'm hoping the holes I made are big enough and they catch them, because I was a little too fine with them and they were not really going in correctly. So bigger holes will suit me better here. So I'm going to use 2 hands to plug this in, and I'll show you basically how I made this. I plugged everything. I'm like, why isn't the light going on? It's because I filled the battery. So this guy is kind of a little flimsy. There's no screws on this, even in the original one, but it's kind of tucked under this thing. It's a little tighter probably. Fits really nice, all things considered. These screws are not perfect by any means, the way they go, but it looks nice, it really does. And what else? Yeah, it ends up, being concave because it has to conform here. But overall, I even got this guy to stick back in there and tighten down the screws, and it held it in pretty well. And I'm pretty happy with it. Let me show you how I made it. So this is literally all day, and I'm not even done with the second one. Basically, I used that guy. I just used 1/4 inch. Oh, that was 5/16, but the 1/4 inch ones went to here. Basically, I bought this stuff. It's 1/16 of an inch ABS plastic board. I believe this one is 12 by 20, something along those lines. I don't think it was 12 by 30. Anyway, so the other one, see, first of all, I made it too short because of the rottedness. I was copying a rotted one, so it was down, so I had to make another piece here, stapled them together. That's what's great about this and this foam. It comes in a roll, 1/4 inch foam roll. And I slipped with the thing, so I had to put a little piece of rubber in there. And when you put the material on, you don't notice the imperfections, really. And what also you don't notice is the fact that I put the sticker on the other one, and I forgot to put this on. So I put this on afterwards, and I put them through the other way. And so it went right through. This one I had a hard time with. I had to keep fighting with it, kept getting stuck. I tried one way, I tried the other way. I eventually got it with the pliers type stapler, but it worked out pretty well, all things considered. And the only thing I got to do now is I got to line this up with this one and get the holes and make pilot holes, and I'll figure out the last one on the car, because you can do that, when you get closer. Unfortunately, the hole here got too big, but like on the other side, it went in. It's not really going anywhere. I ended up being the drill bit I had, it went right through. But because I was pushing the material through, and then there's the rubber here, it still stayed tight, kind of tight. Yet you could still pull it out if you had to. Shouldn't need to, but yeah, I'm going to put the material on this, and hopefully I have enough, because it's the same material I bought for the other one. I'm hoping this much is enough, and it seems like it, So I'm going to get to that, and basically I staple up to this thing. I keep pulling it and pull, staple, cut, staple, pull, staple, cut. And then I cut here and I flip this over, I flipped over the material on the inside. This one here, I just cut a little X and stretched it as much as I could, and that's what helped make the light stick in there better after I made the freaking hole the wrong size. So be careful when just use a hole. If you're going to use that kind of light, just use a drill light. Going through this ABS plastic for whatever you're doing, it's going to just take the gun. The gun doesn't even move. I'm holding the gun still, and the whole fucking plastic board went to me. And then I tried, okay, this time on the second one, I'm not going to do that. And it happened again. It just pulled it right through after it gets to a certain point. So it is what it is. It's really no big deal. It's not going anywhere. And it's still, it got tighter because, like I said, of the material and everything that's in there. So it may have not really fit that well if I put the 3/4 original hole in there like I did in this cardboard stuff, So I think it's pretty kick-ass, and I got a place for the speakers. So this is all good, you know. So I got to get to doing this, and I'll show you how it looks. All right, it's all in. Looks pretty good. It's definitely more tanner. It looks beige on here, and this looks almost white. But it's definitely lighter here, but this is tan, and this is like beige. But, you know, other than maybe a bolt, a screw can go here, drill a hole in it, but it's not going anywhere. It really isn't. All you need is the front thing here. On both sides, I had to drill this out. For some reason, it just, between not knowing the actual shape, even though I matched it up, it doesn't always go in. And then I didn't want to guess on all four of these. That's why I lined up the old one to it to get the holes kind of right. You know, so I got to put the speaker wires in, and I'll probably tuck them back inside here on both sides. And that's pretty much done. And then I can get to the exhaust, you know. But ultimately, these holes here, you see, it goes through those holes, but it's holding tighter over here. These screws are just screwing to itself, you know. So I suppose an extra screw here would do something, but it's not entirely necessary. It's really not going to go anywhere. So I like to hear how it sounds before I go. So I got to hook up these speakers and see what happens. All right, I'm losing my fucking mind. Fucking radio don't work again. 3 fucking radios. I plugged it in first, the speakers, and then I unplugged them because just to see, and I'm like, I don't understand this. I checked both fuses, they're on. What the fuck is making this fucking thing fry? I don't get it. Oh, this is such a fucking inconvenience, because now I'm fucking married to this thing because it fits right, you know, and like, how the fuck you just change up everything for that? And there's really no other room, you know, there's a line behind here. I'm just fucking bewildered. And it sounded so good. With only 2 speakers even. And it was working consistently, like 3 days in a row, and I didn't check it now for the last, 3-4 days, but I'm like, oh my God, what the fuck is this? This is mind-blowing. I put the key on, I didn't see anything. Usually you see something dim, and there's nothing, and it don't turn on. There's got to be something that's doing this. Three steps forward, 5 steps back.
0.1 BLI Long Island Throwback.
All right. So I bought another radio and I put it in, and I just realized it's not all the way up. I gotta fuck with this now. God damn it. Anyway, so I got one of these guys after doing research, and with AI help, they're basically saying that the radio is cheap, it can only hold 12 volts, and I suggested only using 11 and a quarter volts roughly, which is where I have it set to now, and it works fine. And so when it runs, it'll have that too, instead of the 13.8 that it can't handle. So it's like fine for its own means. And basically those retro radios that you buy, the $300, that's all they do to them is they put another cheap one that's able to handle more. But you put something like that, and you're probably in good shape. So this is it, though. This is the most I can do. I've had it, Man, what a pain in the neck. But I realized that makes kind of perfect sense, because I thought it was how the speakers were hooked up, which had never happened before, and all that stuff, So I'm just like, it's got to be the power. And then when I researched it, I saw one guy said that his radio was dead on arrival, but it was probably because he put over 12 volts. Because he said, I put a filter in afterwards. He called it a filter instead of a voltage reducer. So apparently it does the same thing roughly, So, because he said he put a filter on the USB thing because it wasn't working right, it didn't sound right, and then he put a filter on the power, which I didn't understand, because I've seen noise filters and stuff like that, but I don't know if that really does the same thing or what, So that's it right now for the radio. Oh my God.